Part 16. This very first part here tells you that the temple was still standing whenever the book of Revelation was written. Not only before did we read how the dead in Christ were waiting under the altar and not in heaven yet, so the temple was still standing. The dead in Christ, so many of them died back then. They could not be waiting under the altar in a future temple. They were waiting under the altar whenever this was written, before the temple was destroyed. John says, "And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court that is without the temple leave out, and measure it not. For it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. When did the Gentiles come? 66 AD. So these two chapters let us know that these things are happening during the trumpets from the sixth seal. Because just as Jesus told them in Matthew and Luke 24 and 21, he said that the Gentiles would come and trample the city underfoot, and the Jews would be killed by the edge of the sword and led away captive into all nations until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. And then you've got here in Revelation, where it says, For it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months. So in Revelation, it tells you how long it will be. And from 66 AD, whenever the armies came, until the temple was destroyed, was 42 months. But there are two different times in the book of Revelation. You've got 42 months, from 66 until 70 AD, and you've got 1,260 days, which is a little shorter than 42 months. That's very important. The seven trumpets go from 66 until a little before the temple was destroyed. Then the vials happen. The seven trumpets happen until the rapture. The gospel had to be preached in all the world before the end could come. The gospel was preached before 66 AD. It said in Colossians 1:23 and Romans 10:18, it said, Have they not heard the gospel? Verily they've heard. Their sound went out into all the world, and for a witness unto all men, nations. And it said, the gospel that was preached to every creature which was under heaven, whereof Paul was made a minister, because the gospel was preached back then. Once the gospel was preached and the tribulation killed the 144,000, they became the first fruits unto God. The believers got out. There's no more gospel being preached. So that is whenever these two witnesses come. These two witnesses are not preaching the gospel. They're preaching wrath. And we know all this is happening during the trumpets because Jesus was seen returning and the armies came in 66 AD. And these things happened. The Gentiles trampled the city. Stay tuned.